So let's take a couple of moments and let's learn about the history of literacy. And this is important because it takes us to where we are today and what we are doing as far as literacy within the United States and what the data is for learners who are getting educated within the United States. So the first written communication for literacy was around 1513 BCE. Then around 600 CE, something exciting happened. Not only were we having written communication, but we were also having pictures and illustrations begin to emerge as well. And this happened over in Eastern Rome. The pictures were hand sketched and they were called illuminated manuscripts. So that was something kind of exciting that happened around 600 CE. Then we move forward in time a little bit more, and around the 8th century, we have scrolls and pages being made over in Egypt, and they would weave together papyrus plant stems, and then they would glue those to create a scroll. So for the longest, we had scrolls and pages, and that's how our written communications were actually hand delivered or delivered to people. Move forward a little bit more in 1439, this is what really revolutionized literacy and made it so that people could print books and documents quickly. And this was the invention of the printing press. The German man named Johannes Gutenberg actually created the first printing press, and it revolutionized the book industry, making it possible to print books and to get these out a lot quicker and to stop using the scrolls that had previously been used. Now, for a while, even though this printing press was being used, people still were not able to read as well because books and things were not still as abundant as they are today, and people were not just taught how to read. It was not until around the 1920s that the literacy rate within the United States became about 70%. And this was when recreational reading became popular. People would just get a book and would just want to read it just to read it. And this increased that literacy rate to around 70%. So fast forward a little bit more, in 2019, where were we? So in 2019, only 35% of fourth graders were proficient in reading, and only 34% of eighth graders were proficient in reading. And this is according to our NAEP scores. This is a national score that's done every 2 years and lets us look at America's education center or education system to see where we are as a nation as far as learners being able to read. And so that's kind of mind boggling. Only 35% of fourth graders were proficient in reading across America, and only 34% of eighth graders were proficient in reading. That means that the majority of our fourth and eighth graders were reading below grade level. So that's something to really keep in mind. Then in 2020, we know what happened in 2020. We had the pandemic that happened right after 2019 there. And then in 2020, the pandemic happened. And as a result of that pandemic, our scores got even lower. So the average reading score for fourth and eighth grade continued to deteriorate. So it went even lower than that 35% and that 34% that we previously had in 2019. Now, it's 2024 now, and the NAEP scores been done again to see where our nation is as far as our learners in fourth and eighth grade and just across our nation, period, as far as reading goes. However, those scores will not be released until early 2025. So tune in with us in early 2025 because we will definitely be looking back at those scores as soon as they come out to kind of see where we are as a nation. All right. Thank you for tuning in, for looking at where we have been as far as literacy goes and where we are as far as literacy goes as well.